Welcome back into the Gators Online podcast, and we are now joined by a very special guest, the man himself, the head ball coach and ambassador, Steve Spurrier. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Good to be with you guys here today. Yeah, at the restaurant here, we've been thrilled that the restaurant's been well received by the people here in Gainesville, and most all the sports teams at Florida, Billy Napier and all the coaches bring recruits here and coaches and staff and so forth. So we've been very happy thus far.
And that's got to be a cool part, too, because I think a lot of people heard when you were opening the restaurant, they'd get to see the memorabilia, they get to eat here. But all the events that happen here, this has just become like the spot here in town for.
Well, I hope so. And, we got the spring game tomorrow, tonight, actually, Thursday night. And Chris Doring and the SEC Network guys were in here last night.
Yeah.
So the TV guys come, fans from other schools come. We played Kentucky in basketball here, and a bunch of Kentucky basketball fans were here that night. And I a lot of times blow my whistle and say thanks for coming. And I told those Kentucky people, I said, now we can live with you guys beating us in basketball most of the time, but dadgummit, you're beating us in football.
Stop that.
We're going to start getting mad at you people. So they thought that was sort of funny that they're beating us in football. But that needs to stop. Hopefully that starts this year with Billy Napier and a new regime here with the Gators.
Did Tennessee fans come last year when they were in town?
Yeah, they had a good crowd here. Yeah, a good crowd came by. And, of course, I got a picture of Pat Summitt down there. She was a really good friend, coaching friend of mine, and one of the best coaches of all time. We hear about women being manager of the baseball team, Tampa Tarpons down and everything. And I remember back when she was coaching, a lot of people said she ought to coach the men's team at Tennessee as well as the women's team. And that would have been neat. I sort of wish she had done it, but it didn't. It was too long ago, I guess.
Sure. Now, you mentioned Tennessee. You got some keys to the city over here from Tennessee.
I'm from Johnson City. Yeah. So, I think I got one or two. I think they forgot to give me the first one. So
now, correct me if I'm wrong, too. I think Freddie told me that the only guy that's got more keys to the city in this country is Barack Obama. So that's a pretty good wall that you got over there.
How many
keys
got?
To the city.
we need to make sure that count's accurate, Freddie.
We got to count them up. Well, obviously, everyone's been looking forward to the spring game tonight, Coach. Kind of the first glimpse of Billy Napier's Gators. What have been your thoughts so far on the team and just kind of what you've seen this spring?
Yeah, I haven't really watched a lot. I don't think it's my position to look over Billy's shoulder and watch him coach, just like that. But I've been to a few practices. And I just think the attitude's better. I think guys are more accountable, discipline, effort, attitude. It seems like last year that slipped. And I don't blame Coach Mullen so much, but, the assistant coaches are responsible for the players, but also the head coach is responsible for everything.
Sure.
So he's slightly to blame, and I think but you can't allow players to miss tackles and look like they're loafing, and the fans, I think, noticed that also. So hopefully these guys with Billy and the staff here will really give us a team to be proud of. I think that's going to happen.
Now, some fans are worried because Billy came in and he's the head coach, he's the offensive coordinator, and he's the quarterback's coach. And I think I read a quote from you somewhere that said, if you got a job because you were calling plays, don't stop calling plays when you get there.
Why would you change? Yeah.
And there's somebody else at the table with us that did all three of those when he was here. So what would you say to fans that are worried?
It's interesting. I guess I was one of the first in the SEC. When I came in 1990, you had Pat Dye. He coached just like Bear Bryant. They all tried to coach just like Bear Bryant, back in those days. Johnny Majors, the guys in Mississippi, Billy Brewer and so forth. I don't know if another head coach called the plays back then, the Vince Dooley style and so forth. So, but that's what got me a head job was our offense at Duke was best in the ACC. Actually, we're number one all 3 years I coached up there and won the ACC. So that's how I do it. And I can assure you our assistant coaching staff wasn't anything like Billy's as far as reputation. I hired two guys never coached before, John Reeves and Dwayne Dixon, two former Gators, and they were fantastic, excellent recruiters. And I brought four of my Duke coaches down here with me. Kept Jerry Anderson, who was a Gator, on the staff, and hired a couple guys that were free and available. So we didn't have to spend much money on our staff back in those days.
Yeah, but to your point, I mean, anyone that's worried about him not having enough eyes on the product, he's got an army of coaches out there to kind of help him construct that offense.
Yeah, there's a bunch of titles out there. I think a lot of those guys are very busy with the recruiting and with the NIL and all of that. And that's I'm sort of glad I don't have to fight all that.
A lot of stuff going on now.
Yeah, we didn't have any of that in the 90s. In the 90s, we go recruit, and actually we had a recruiting season. During the season, I tried to concentrate on our team, our quarterbacks, our offense, our entire team. And then we had about 2 months to go recruiting and bring them in and then sign in February. And away you go. And as long as everybody did it the same way, hey, it's all fair.
Right. Yeah.
But nowadays, it's a year-round process. I think at the spring game tonight, there's supposed to be, 15, 20 of the top 4 or 5 star guys in the country are coming. So it's a big night for recruiting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And when was the first time that you got to meet Coach Napier in person? Do you remember when that was?
Yeah, it's when he came here. He was announced, and I think they had an announcement party here at the restaurant that night. I talked to him on the phone before that. So right after he got the job, talked to him for a bit, and then I talked to him then. But he runs around with the quarterbacks, I think, most of the time during practice. When I was watching, that's what he was doing. So that's the way to do it. The NFL, they're all hiring guys like that now. Yeah, John McVay, and they got Cincinnati and all over the place. They're going for that offensive coordinator that scores points. And as we know, the game is outscoring your opponent now. It really is. And Nick Saban, he's not the offensive coordinator, but he tries to hire one of those sharp young guys, like Kiffin and the other guys. They all get head jobs after they leave there. But that's the trend is a guy who can coach the quarterbacks, coach them well, and score points. So hopefully that's what Billy does.
Yeah. And Shane Matthews has always said he's a big believer in that the guy that coaches the quarterback should be the play caller.
Yeah.
And obviously we see that from Billy. What have been your early impressions of him as a man and coach? I know he said when he came in, he sought out advice from people that have been successful here, and I'm sure you're one of the people he wanted to talk to.
Oh, I haven't had any long conversations with him. He knows what he's doing. He has his plan in place, and he's going to run with it. And, time will tell. I think we're a little bit behind, probably talent-wise, of the Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M. Sure. Those 3 guys seem to have most of the money to spend in that NIL stuff. So we got to catch up there and catch up in recruiting. And I think once we do that, I think Billy and his staff can put us at the top.
Well, I said you could be the number 10 recruiting class in the country and be 5th in the SEC. Behind some of those schools. So it's not just competing against everyone in the country. You've got, like you said, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Alabama who are doing it. So you're playing catch up within your own conference right now.
Yeah, we're catching up a bit, but I'm impressed with the guys, the way they've supposedly practiced and worked this spring. So I think we'll see the defense play well tonight. I do. I think the offense may struggle a little bit, but maybe I don't know the exact rules yet.
Sure.
I always told our defense you can play 2 coverages, man-to-man and cover 3 zone. So that's gave the offense a little advantage. Yeah. And no blitzing and so forth. So I don't know what Billy's rules are for the spring game. I guess we just got to go and find out when the game starts.
When you did your spring game, would you try to split them up? First team offense versus second team defense, vice versa, or would you try to split the rosters evenly?
The first year we let everybody play. Now the first year was in Jacksonville. We ripped out the AstroTurf, which was by far maybe the best move I could have made when I got the job, because the players loved that natural grass and they hated that hot AstroTurf. Yeah. So all of a sudden the players said, hey, this coach actually is looking out for us. We're going to play on grass now. And, that was a huge boost for team morale. It really was. So we had the spring game over in Jacksonville, and we let everybody play, and we sort of limited defense a little bit. And then the next year, of course, Shane Matthews had a big game and went on and won the job and became SEC Player of the Year, and we won the SEC first year. Yeah. So it all worked out pretty good. Then the next year, we're getting ready to play at home here. And we had 3 senior defensive linemen. I think Tony McCoy, Brad Culpepper, 1 or 2 other guys. I said, you guys don't even have to play in the spring game. And you've had a good spring, blah, blah, blah. Let the young guys. And one of the marketing guys found out about it. He told Jeremy Foley, he said Spurrier's not letting all the starters play. And Jeremy said, well, he doesn't have to. And he said, well, we're trying to sell tickets. $5. We sell tickets $5 a piece for the spring game.
Yeah, some still do.
And they used to make it really competitive. You know, we had the steak and beans game, steak and beans. Winner got steaks, losers got beans. And I think the year before, Emmitt Smith carried the ball something like 25, 30 times in a spring football game.
He didn't want beans. He didn't want beans for dinner.
That doesn't make sense. But we used to do a lot of things around the Florida Gators that needed fixed, as we know. So we sort of changed the spring game attitude that second year here in '91.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Let the young guys play. Let them compete. You know, and maybe make some plays. We knew who could really play.
Sure.
And so a lot of walk-on players got a chance to play also.
And like somebody like Ventrell Miller, he's going into his 6th year. How much do you need to see him play tonight? You know, you know what he is as a player. He knows how to play football, and you've got a bunch of young guys behind him at linebacker. So
this is their night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and probably the best thing we used to do also, I don't know if y'all were here back in those days, but we gave all awards at halftime of the spring game. And we gave about 50 awards, you know, like the Everyday Award, Offense, Defense, Special Team, Hustle Award, Most Consistent, Big Play Award, whoever made a big play. And those kids love hearing their name. And we give them a little old tiny trophy, you know, and their parents are up there going crazy. So halftime awards, especially the walk-on kids, they got recognized in the swamp in front of a crowd and picked up a trophy. And that was a memory of a lifetime for those kids.
Yeah,
and they certainly loved it, as their parents did also.
You did that throughout your tenure?
Yeah, we did it. We did it every year here.
That's awesome.
Halftime award show.
That's awesome. Hey, I love it. As we wrap up with Coach Spurrier, I do want to ask you about one of your former players that is back in town. Mike Peterson is on Billy Napier's staff. I'm sure it's been cool to see Mike Pete kind of in the hallways and back here. Just how awesome has it been to have one of your former players back here in town?
Yeah, I've always sort of recommended to all the coaches come in if they could get 1 or 2 former Gators here, it'd be neat. And so we got Mike, Billy. I don't know if he knew Mike much or not, but certainly Mike, wonderful reputation as linebacker coach. He was up at South Carolina. Cheston Blackshear is here as one of their assistant to the assistant coach.
As the organizational chart goes with Billy.
So we got 3 or 4 Gators, and I think Vernell retained his job as administrative assistant. So yeah, we got several Gators on the staff now.
Yep.
How gratifying is that for you as a coach to see them go through their playing career and then find coaching and then start impacting the lives of young men?
Yeah, we got a lot of guys out there and about, and it's neat to have a few on the staff here. I think I always try to have 3 or 4, but I guess I was a little more favorite to Gators than most of the other coaches. But yeah, assistant coaches, they're important. But the best thing assistant coaches can do is have a wonderful attitude and be an outstanding recruiter and get along with everybody. That's basically it. The defensive coordinators, hey, here's how we want to do it. You know, the guys that's calling the shots, they got to be really sharp. And to me, the assistants, hey, how you want me to coach this? And then coach the heck out of it.
Yeah, now, Coach, with the spring game wrapping up, that means all the focus is going to be on baseball and softball season. I know my man Nick wants to ask you a little baseball before we get out of here.
Well, gymnastics, you know.
Don't forget about that too.
Our lady gymnasts have a chance to win it all. And I told Jenny Rowland, I said, if they win it all, then they really have won it all this year. They've won the regular season, SEC, the tournament. I think they tied with Auburn or something, so they won it. And then they've won the regions and blah, blah, blah. And if they win the national, they have won it all. So they got opportunity to do that.
Talk about a steak and beans meet tonight for the gymnastics team.
Well, they've had a super year, but I know they want to win it all. They want to win national championship, and certainly we got a team to do it. So they've set their goals and they're very high, and they're hopefully going to achieve it here.
Now, Coach, we're sitting here and you've got a Heisman Trophy, you've got some national championships, but someone told me you might have been a better baseball player than football player.
I don't know if I was. I don't think I was better, but
Are you undefeated as a pitcher?
Yeah, baseball was probably and basketball were by far my best two sports growing up. And my buddies was telling me, you'll quit football once you get in high school because there's nothing you can do well there. And, nobody threw the ball then. It was fullback, off tackle, option play, and this, that, and the other. In junior high, I played linebacker and fullback, I think. And but I was a kicker. So since I kicked extra points and punted, I sort of stayed out for the team. And so I was a kicker and sort of punter in my sophomore year. And then my junior year, we started throwing the ball a little bit. And then my senior year, we threw a little bit more. And then I became a football player for some reason. But we still played all three sports back then. We didn't, and I encourage young guys and girls too to play as many sports as you can, and then you'll know. Because if I started specializing, then I would have quit football because I wasn't very good in football.
Yeah. Man, the University of Florida would be way different if you had quit football.
Yeah, but totally blessed to come to University of Florida, Coach Graves, and meet my wife Jerry here, and so forth. So I've been extremely fortunate.
And like you like to tell a lot of people, when they ask you what was your best game as a player, you don't go with football. You go with what you did on the baseball diamond.
Well, it was. We won it my junior year in Memphis. I mean, in Nashville. And then my senior year, we went to Memphis and the Memphis Christian Brothers, private school there. And they go to the state tournament just about every year. They are a baseball school. I don't even know if they play football at the Christian Brothers High School. Paul Feinbaum, by the way, went to the Christian Brothers.
All right.
But they've won numerous state championships and so forth. But double elimination. So we beat them 7-6 the first game, and I pitched 8 innings. We had to go extra innings.
Extra inning there, yeah.
So we actually had a day off. We won our first 2, and then they beat another team, so we had to play them a day later.
Yeah.
So our other guy, Bud Oxendown, was the pitcher, and they beat us actually 12-3 in the first one. So that set up the game for all the marbles, and so I pitched 8 innings. One had a day off, and then 7. So 15 innings in 3 days.
Whew.
And then last night I noticed the pitcher for the Dodgers,
Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, he's got a no-hitter, perfect game.
Perfect game.
7 innings, they take him out. I said, "Oh, come on, man! You
only had like 79 pitches too, and they took him out."
Yeah, less than 80 pitches. That doesn't make sense, but I guess the perfect game wasn't important to what they were doing.
Yeah, well,
but we held on and beat them. We beat them 7-5 the last game, and I mean they had 2 guys on the last inning, and the guy flew out to center field. So we something good would always happen to us in baseball. I don't have all the reasons. We didn't have a lot of major league guys. In fact, I don't think we had any. They went to the majors. Had one guy got a baseball scholarship to Tennessee though. Okay. Our catcher. So anyway, it was just the way it worked out.
And it was just you always cherish those games where you win championships.
Oh, memory of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Oh, memory of a lifetime. I got one buddy up there, Tommy Hager. And he played all 3 sports also, football, basketball, and baseball. And he was our leadoff hitter. And he scored the winning run on about all the state championships, it seemed like. So we reminisce quite often, you know.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you reminiscing with us today. Join us to talk about the Gators, talk about the spring game. Before we let you go, I just want to say, Coach, I've interviewed you before. I think all of our listeners know how much of a HBC guy that I am. And as Nick knows, you got to give people their flowers when you get an opportunity, right? And Coach, I just want to thank you as a guy that grew up in Gainesville for everything that you did for this football program, this university, because I don't think I'd be a media member or have the life that I have if you wouldn't have done that. So I just want to say appreciate you, and it's been great to be able to get to know you as a media member as well.
Well, I appreciate it. I think William James, he made a statement one time. He said, the greatest discovery of our generation is that a person or a team can alter their life with a change in attitude. So when I got here in 1990, all we had to do is change the attitude of Florida Gator football. You remember I don't know if you can remember that far back, but it was just, we had all of our excuses lined up, and our favorite saying was wait till next year. Yeah. But the players were already here. We were loaded with players, and all they needed is to believe we're good enough. And then Shane Matthews was already here. I didn't recruit him. He was already here sitting on the dummies, in practice, and he got his chance. So anyway, changing attitude, and hopefully Billy Napier is going to bring a change in attitude for our guys.
No doubt. Right. Appreciate it, Coach. We're going to get to this break. We'll come back on the other side with Johnny Townsend. Thanks for Coach for joining us, and you're listening to the Gators Online podcast.